The overarching intent for our hitting program is to have hitters that have the intent to go up there and do damage and hit long, hard line drives. We want players to go up there with a good aggressive approach and looking to drive the ball in the gaps and really do damage when they're hitting. In our cage here at Blacktown, we've set up a few visuals to be able to give young hitters some ideas on ways to be able to make adjustments and what we're looking for out of a long, hard line drive. So on the sides of our cages, we've ran probably from about mid-waist up all the way along the sides an orange rope, which is the indicator of where we want the ball as a minimum height. We use the roof as the top height, and that kind of gives an indication of where we want the ball to be able to travel and in the direction that we want it to be able to travel. We're really limited here in the cage, and in our hitting program we talk our hitters about the ball will tell us whether it's a good swing or not. So a ball that goes above the orange rope, below the roof, has the correct trajectory. When we're on the field, it's a little bit easier to be able to tell whether we've hit the ball clean, whether it's got carry, whether it's carrying in the gaps, whether we've got backspin on the ball, whether the ball's come off on the right angles, and whether we've hit a long, hard line drive. So in the cages, we have to manipulate it a little bit, and that's why we've gone with the orange rope. Some of the other things that we've done in the cages here is we've split the ends, and we've given some targets on the other end. So this end here, we've run a rope right down the middle of this cage here, and this way we can split it into left side of the field, right side of the field. It allows us to be able to give the kids a little bit more of a visual. We can work on different approaches and throughout the different drills, and the players are always hitting towards targets and making adjustments to be able to hit those targets. It's a way for them to be able to develop their swings, and a way for them to be able to adapt their swings to a lot of different pitches in a lot of different areas off the tee, and also a way for them to be able to make adjustments on their own and create a feel for the swing. So we see that we've got there, we work towards there, we've got our line all the way down the middle of the cage, and then at the back end of the cages we've gone with 3 separate boxes. So one would be a perfect swing right up the middle, in the yellow box there in the middle. One is into left centre, one is into right centre, and we really encourage the kids to try and hit the balls with the tee placed in different areas, different heights, in, out, up, down, out in front, to be able to try and adapt their swing. And we also give them targets, so if they don't hit those targets, they're making adjustments to go towards it. These would represent perfect swings. If they get it in and around the area, it's still a pretty good swing, but we encourage them to make adjustments to be able to do that. For us, it's all about hitting long, hard line drives and be able to always hit with a purpose, and making sure that every time they swing the bat, they make an adjustment. If it's a bad swing, if it's a good swing, they're trying to get a feel for it and trying to repeat it. Part of our hitting program is making sure that hitters develop routines, and they come into the cage with a purpose, and they're working towards always making adjustments. One of the things that we've done successfully in our winter programs is encourage our kids to come up with routines that are going to help them develop their swing. And it's really, really player based. If there's a player who has trouble trying to drive the ball the other way, then we set targets the other way and have them trying to encourage to do that, and encouraging them to get out there and work on it and making sure that they're getting their swings there. We've set up in the cages, as we've shown you before, where we've got our boxes left centre, up the middle, right centre, and we can have the players set up our own routines, or as a coach you can set routines for your players. One of the routines we used in the off season here, and it's very, very basic, was 5 swings to get warmed up, working towards the middle square. The next one was the one-hand drill, working towards the middle square and making sure that we're making adjustments to try and hit that with both of the hands, bottom hand and top hand. The next one was going through a walk-through drill, working towards the middle, a step back drill, working towards the middle, and once a player has got their rhythm and their timing and they've really worked on their swing and they've got it grooved, then they start to work on double or better into right centre, double or better into left centre, and they come up with a little routine. It might be a 10, 15, 20 swing routine right at the back end of it, where they can really make adjustments and they can judge whether they're hitting the targets or not. If they're not hitting the targets and their score is a 7 out of 15, then there's something to be able to improve on. But it gives a visual and a way for them to be able to make adjustments and to try and groove their swings and make sure they're making improvements and they're hitting with a purpose. The trajectory of the ball, or the angle of the ball, will tell the player whether it's a good swing or not. We set up targets here that we've got, and we encourage our players to make sure that they hit towards the targets and try and make adjustments. The target right in the middle represents a perfect swing, line drive back up the middle. The one in left centre represents a ball that's probably going to be hitting the gap, maybe a double, same thing with the one in the right centre. We encourage players to get in here, take their game swings, take a 2-strike approach, 2-0, 3-1 hitters count approach, take their regular game swings and work towards the targets. If they're not hitting the targets, they can make adjustments to get back there. It doesn't require a coach to be there all the time, and for players that are really keen, that have got great work ethic, they can become really, really good hitters if they get out there and they swing with a purpose, and they've got plenty of targets to be able to hit for, and those targets represent a long, hard line drive. The first drill that we're just going to work on is James going to take his regular game swing and he's going to work towards the yellow target there in the middle, and if he hits the ball off that target, then he's going to make adjustments to get back there. I'm not going to give him any cues, any visual things, anything to work on. He's got to make the adjustment himself, and if he can do that, he'll be able to create a feel of a swing that's adaptable and one that can hit long, hard line drives. Let's hit James. Outstanding. Good. As you see there, James worked towards the target, took 4 swings, perfect swings. They weren't all warried in the box, but they were 4 really, really, really good swings. So the next one we'll work on is balls into right centre. So we set up the target, it's an orange square, up into right centre there, and we'll work on James taking his regular game swings, working towards it. The first 2 will just be regular swings, and then the next 2 we're going to go double or better. We want to encourage our kids to be able to swing the bat with some aggression, to try and drive the baseball, to try and hit a double or better, to try and really impact the baseball, because it's going to happen in the games. If they don't practice it here off the tee, they don't practice it in batting practice or flips, it will never ever happen in the game. So we encourage them to swing the bat hard, try and hit a double, try and drive it, make your adjustments and adapt your swing to be able to hit a double and get it in the direction where it needs to be able to go. Alright, let's go double or better. Everything you got. Alright, make an adjustment. Excellent adjustment. One other teaching point that we can work on when we're working with players off the tee, and one visual we can give them, is something to where we can set up the ball to give them a visual target to be able to hit it. If we set up the ball here with the 2 seams set up this way, we can sit it on the tee and we can sit it to where it's right back up the middle. We can sit it to where we want to have the player drive the ball to the big part of the field or to right centre, or we can do it into left centre as well. It's a really good tool to be able to use to leave the thinking of hitting to just impacting the baseball. The least amount of thoughts that they can have when the ball's actually on its way, the better off we're going to do. And we can simulate that by not saying we want you to do this with your hands, we want you to do that with your barrel, we want you to swing the bat a certain way. If you set it up in that direction, we want you to impact the baseball and we want you to square it up here. And that'll help players get the feel for driving the ball to right field, to left field, right centre, left centre, wherever you aim that target. If they can square it up, it'll go in that direction. Same thing applies, we want them to hit a long hard line drive that way, but if we can give them that visual, it'll take those thoughts out of their heads of changing their swings to be able to get it there, and their body will adapt and arrange itself around that target and make sure that they're working towards that to be able to hit a long hard line drive in that direction. We're going to work into left centre now. James is going to go the first 2 swings regular swings. The next 2, he's going to go double or better, and I'm going to set it up on the angle where I just want him to square this up. That's all we're thinking about. All right, make an adjustment. Target. Good. One more swing. So we've seen the first 3 swings. James's angle was a little bit off, lifting the ball a little bit. 4th swing, over-adjusted, got it in below the target. 5th swing, right on the money. And that's what we're looking to be able to do. Rather than having hitters that are relying on coaches and relying on mechanical feedback, we like to be able to set up targets, give the players opportunities to know what it should look like, what it should feel like, and have them make adjustments to make sure that their swing can adapt and get back to where it needs to be. The drill for players to be able to use when they're hitting is the one-hand drill. It teaches players to be able to release the barrel through the ball and make sure that they've got good action with their barrel and that the barrel's getting through the ball. We do it individually because it teaches each hand to be able to do it. This drill is not about how hard you hit it, but it's about the direction and making sure that we're making adjustments to get it back towards the target. Okay, and the simple cues are for the hitters just to load and release. Load and release, and just making sure that there's minimal effort. Players should be able to do this drill for about half an hour if they have the time to be able to do it without getting tired, without breaking a sweat. And it's all about getting that wrist action and releasing the barrel through the ball. Okay, so I'm going to take a few swings. We're going to go bottom hand first. We're just going to load and release. Always working towards the target. Load, release. One more with the bottom hand. If we work towards the target and make adjustments, it helps us get it online. And it's not about effort, it's not about how hard we hit it, but it's about releasing that barrel on the right angle to hit a long hard line drive. Here's the top hand swing. It's a really good drill to be able to teach our body and our swing to be able to release the barrel through the ball with both hands. If we can do it on both hands when they work together, they really whip through there. And this drill is probably not appropriate for players that are kind of 12, 13 years old or younger. It takes a little bit of strength, a little bit of effort to be able to release the barrel through the ball. When players start to get 14, 15 years old, they get more of a feel for their swing, they'll be able to do this drill. The alternative for younger players is to have the same approach, but just do it with 2 hands. Okay, so it's not about how hard they swing it, it's about releasing the barrel through the ball. We want to be wristy, and we want to make sure that that barrel's releasing through the ball. So for younger players, or for players that are good at the one-hand drill, they can come up with a routine where they go bottom hand, top hand, both hands. Or for younger players, just doing both hands as a starter to release the barrel is a really good trick to be able to do it. So here it looks like with both hands. Just load and release. Load. One more. It's not about how hard I hit it, but releasing the barrel and I make solid contact as a long hard line drive, the ball really jumps off the bat. Walk-through drill is a really, really good drill to be able to create some rhythm with our hitters. A lot of young hitters will get up there in the box, they're still unsure of themselves, and so they don't create enough rhythm and they don't get a load and they're not ready to be able to hit properly. This drill will help them start to create that rhythm, and if they work on it enough, it'll help them get a feel for where their hands need to be, a little bit of body control, how to stride towards the ball, how to make adjustments to their body to be able to hit the ball. As they advance on it, we can start to move the ball in and out, up and down, out in front, out in the back, and help them really make adjustments. But it's as simple as the player starting behind the right-handed batter's box if they're a right-handed hitter, obviously left-handed if they're a left-handed hitter, taking good stride in there, riding the back leg, taking a swing to try and hit a long, hard line drive. A really good drill to help players get a feel for a load and loading up is called the step back drill. It creates an environment or puts them in a position to where they've got to stop their momentum from going back to be able to go forward. And when we hit, it's really important that we load up and we get some weight going back so we're in a good position to be able to drive out of that position there at contact and really drive the baseball. And a step back drill puts the players in that position. And all it is as simple as making sure they take a good stride back, loading up on that back leg and taking a swing. It's important that they start probably 6 to 8 inches closer to the pitcher than they usually would off the tee, so they can take a good stride back, load it up, and take their game swing, trying to hit a long, hard line drive. Front toss can be done in a couple of different ways. We can do an underhand toss, okay? We can do it from about 3 to 4 metres away. We need to make sure that we've got a good L screen that's safe to be able to stand behind, and the people that are feeding it need to make sure that the only part of their body that comes out from behind the L screen is their arm. Once they deliver the ball, they need to get in behind it. Because it's such a close distance, with hitters, especially in seniors, when they start to hit the ball really, really firmly, we need to make sure that we're behind the screen. Another important thing about when we're delivering front toss or soft toss is we give the players enough time in between swings. Number one, so they can get a good follow through and take a good swing, but number two, so they can get set, they can get a good load, and they can get good swings in. Quality is way better than quantity here, and we'd rather see players have 5 or 6 really good swings where they've got plenty of time in between than 12, 15 swings where they're really, really rushed. So it's important that we give them good timing in between, and also too a really good timing mechanism. So when we feed it, we don't want to just feed it one after the other and be really inconsistent with how we feed the ball. We want to make sure that there's a little bit of rhythm. We pause, the player gets set, we take a couple of steps towards the hitter, we feed the ball, we get in from behind the L screen so we don't get hit by the ball. Front toss is a really, really good way to be able to do it. Finding people to throw batting practice is always difficult. Players can feed front toss to themselves over and over and over, and it's a way for them to get extra swings in without being a burden on coaches and being a burden on people that need to throw batting practice. We're going to go through a few swings today on front toss, and this is what it looks like. We'll cut those ones out. Alright?
Yeah.
Another way for hitters to be able to get swings in is to deliver some front toss by throwing an overhand. This provides a little bit closer of an angle to what they would be seeing in the game. It also gives the coach or the person that's throwing it an opportunity to start to add in some change-up grips and some breaking balls. And obviously the spin isn't exactly the same as it's going to be in the game, but it starts to let young hitters recognise the spin of a breaking ball, the grip on a change-up and how it comes out, and hopefully helps them adjust to breaking balls when they go from under 14s to under 16s and so on and so forth. It's really important that the screen is in really good shape, that the chair is set up to where the entire body and the head is behind the L screen, and the only part that comes out is the hand of the person throwing it. It's really good to have kids to be able to do this, to be able to throw to each other. It helps them provide more swings, and it also takes a lot of stress off arms of guys that have to throw a lot of batting practice. If you've got a lot of hitters, this is a really, really good option to be able to use. Set up a chair behind the L screen, get your entire body behind it, sit there with a bucket of balls, and your hand comes out from the side of the L screen. Provides a good angle for the hitters to be able to get, and they can get plenty of swings in. Another option for front toss is to be able to do it standing and overhand as well. Okay, we want to progress the cage of the L screen back a little bit to make sure that we've got the players a little bit more room, and it's really, really important that the players don't move in and around the screen too much, that they make sure they stay behind the screen again, and the only part that's going to come out and be exposed from outside the L screen is their hand when they deliver the ball. Okay, it doesn't take a lot of effort to be able to do this, and again, it's a really good way for players to be able to throw to each other. Number one, to get a feel for handling the ball and throwing balls in different directions and making sure that they're adjusting to it, but also two, to be able to make sure that we take some stress off the people that have to throw a lot of batting practice, and also that players get a chance to see a lot of different arms. When they're seeing the same person thrown to them over and over and over, they can get so locked in on seeing that person that's hard to make adjustments when they see other people. They see different throwers, it's going to mean they're going to make different adjustments, seeing balls from different angles at different speeds in different parts of the strike zone. It's going to help create better hitters.